Should convicted felons be employable? For most people convicted of a felony, it is a serious issue in their lives moving forward. Even after they have seemingly paid their debt to society and are released from prison, they still have the stigma attached to their names, which prevents them from being employed, because companies refuse to hire them. However, not all convicted felons are treated equal. Donald Trump is arguably the most successful convicted felon of all time, now being the 47th President of the United States. But he is not alone. Martha Stewart was convicted in March of 2004 of felony charges of conspiracy to obstruct, obstruction of an agency proceeding, and of making false statements to federal investigators. She was ultimately sentenced in July of 2004 to 5 months in a federal correctional facility and a 2-year period of supervised release. However, since then, she has gone on to have a successful post-conviction career, and her net worth is estimated to be over $500 million. In June of 2009, Chris Brown pleaded guilty to felony assault and accepted a plea deal of community service, 5 years of probation, and domestic violence counseling. His felony conviction was due to the physical altercation he had with his then-girlfriend, Rihanna, in February of that year. However, Brown has also gone on to have a successful career, selling over 200 million albums worldwide, with an estimated net worth of over $50 million. Mark Wahlberg was a troubled youth growing up. After being charged with attempted murder in 1986, he was ultimately convicted of felony assault. He even fractured a neighbor's jaw in 1992. However, despite that, Wahlberg has gone on to have a successful music and acting career, with a net worth of over $400 million. Snoop Dogg, whose real name is Calvin Broadus Jr., was convicted in 1990 of felony drug possession with intent to sell. He was arrested for illegal gun possession in July of 1993, and faced a first-degree murder trial in August of that same year. However, Snoop Dogg is one of the most successful artists in entertainment, with over 35 million albums sold worldwide and a net worth of over $160 million. Michael Vick blew up his NFL career in 2007 due to dogfighting, and was ultimately sentenced to 2 years in federal prison. However, after serving his time, he ultimately returned to football, playing for the Philadelphia Eagles, the New York Jets, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. In 1994, 50 Cent, whose real name is Curtis Jackson III, was sentenced to 3 to 9 years in prison for allegedly trying to sell cocaine to an undercover police officer. However, he served out his sentence in a 6-month boot camp and earned his GED. Currently, he is worth around $50 million. In 1991, Mike Tyson was sentenced to 6 years in prison for sexual assault, and was released after 3 years. He was able to resume his boxing career after he got out, and still has a net worth of at least $10 million. Lil Wayne, whose real name is Wayne Carter Jr., has had numerous run-ins with the law over the years, one of which resulted in him spending a year in the infamous Rikers Island in 2010, where Sean Combs is currently residing. Wayne was pardoned by Donald Trump on January 19, 2021. His estimated net worth is $170 million. Eminem, whose real name is Marshall Mathers III, was sentenced to 2 years probation after pleading guilty to being in possession of a concealed weapon and assault in 2000. He has battled substance abuse issues for a number of years. He is said to be worth an estimated $250 million. Even Home Improvement's Tim Allen is a convicted felon. In October of 1978, Allen pleaded guilty to felony drug trafficking charges after being arrested at the Kalamazoo Battle Creek International Airport for possession of over 650 grams of cocaine. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison. However, he has a net worth of around $100 million. On November 13, the chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee, House of Representatives member, Michael McCaul was detained by Dulles International Airport by police for appearing to be intoxicated. He was allowed to call a family member, who picked him up from the airport. He was not charged by the police, and is not likely to face any disciplinary actions. Thus, the stigma attached to being a convicted felon seems not to matter as much, depending on who you know, or how famous you are. If you are a celebrity, it seems that society is willing to look past a person's previous transgressions. However, if you are the average person, then you are apparently a pariah or a parasite, and a horrible human being that deserves to be thrown away by society. There are over 80 million people in the United States with criminal records, 20 million of which are felonies. If a person has served their debt to society, and is deemed to be safe enough to return to the general population, then they should not have to beg for a job, or have to explain the mistakes or circumstances that occurred at some point earlier for the rest of their lives.